Everyone who has had panic attacks will know that that is one of the worst experiences that you can have in your life. You're thinking that you're going to die from a heart attack, can't breathe, or that you're going crazy, and the more you try to get these thoughts out of your head, the louder they become. I personally have suffered from panic attacks for 4 years while I was at university. Fortunately, I have found a way to cure myself from them, and it has already been 5 years since I have had any panic attacks. I will try to explain in this video why I think panic attacks occur and how to cure them. First, I will go deeper in more scientific reasons why I think they occur, and then in more pragmatic psychological reasons. I personally think the latter is more important, but both reasons are connected, as I will try to explain it in this video. From a scientific perspective, panic attacks occur mainly because of a lack of a GABA neurotransmitter. We have a lot of neurotransmitters, some of them being dopamine and serotonin, which act as tiny messengers in your brain and nervous system. They help nerve cells, neurons communicate with each other by carrying signals from one cell to another. GABA is a neurotransmitter that signals your brain and neurons to relax and calm down. When your GABA levels are low, you feel more stress, more anxiety, and if this goes on for a long time, you start getting panic attacks. So what does lower GABA in your body? Poor sleep is one of the causes that lowers your GABA. By that, I mean not only lack of sleep like the hours, but also how you sleep. If you, for example, sleep during the day instead of at night, or if your sleep is not in one piece like 7 to 8 hours at a time, but 2 or 3 pieces of 2 or 3 hours, that is also a cause of a decrease in GABA. This is a major factor for lowering your GABA, and it is something you should seriously consider changing. What I would consider to have a better quality of sleep is having a routine 1 hour before sleeping that will help you relax and clear your thoughts. That could be, for example, a walk, meditation, a bath, or something else. You should also try to lower the intensity of your light. What I have done is I installed a smart light bulb that I bought for cheap and that lets me adjust the color of the light and its intensity with an app. I just adjust it to a red color and really low intensity 1 hour before I go to sleep, as the blue light can interrupt your sleep or decrease its quality. You can also install apps on your phone that have blue light filters that can help you. One of the things that helped me a lot with sleep and with panic attacks in general is valerian root extract. It is a natural product and for that reason does not have any bigger side effects as many other synthetic drugs do. I have read that it is not safe to drive when taking it, as it can make you sleepy or not focused. I personally didn't experience any major side effects and I was taking it regularly for years. The only side effect was that I would not be able to concentrate as hard if I take a really high dose, and by a high dose I mean more than 700 milligrams, but anything under 500 milligrams should be fine. As far as I have read the research, it is still inconclusive if it helps with sleep, but it did help me a lot and I would advise you to try it. I used to take it before a stressful event such as making a presentation at university in front of the whole class or before a really important exam, because what I noticed is that this supplement acts like a brake that doesn't allow your body to get a panic attack. That's how I would describe it. You will probably still have the anxiety, but it will not be as severe as it could have been without taking it. That brings me to the second big factor that decreases your GABA, and that is what you consume. Coffee and caffeinated drinks can greatly reduce your GABA, and there have been multiple studies have shown that the increase in caffeine also increases your anxiety levels and therefore also your panic attacks. It can also affect how long your other stress hormones such as adrenaline and cortisol stay in your body. Not to mention that it will probably also reduce your quality of sleep that will further decrease your GABA. I would say that a good alternative is green tea if you have to really consume caffeinated drinks, because green tea at least has L-theanine, which was concluded to increase GABA in your body. So you can use it to slowly wind down off of caffeinated drinks if it is hard to stop drinking it cold turkey. Speaking of things you consume, food is of course also a big factor in all of this. I just don't want to discuss it in detail as research on this topic is still going on. It is also hard to relate things like food to something like GABA or panic attacks in general, as both things are complex systems and it is therefore hard to analyze their relationship. Alcohol can also cause your GABA to decrease. It initially increases GABA artificially, but the long-term effects are the lowering of it. Alcohol can also create more stress and anxiety even though it is used to cope with it. I experienced a lot of panic attacks a day after drinking because as your body is processing alcohol, which is actually a poison for your body, it causes a spike in adrenaline and cortisol. So, what is the conclusion of all those things that I told you? What is the suggestion here to completely change your whole life? I think that, yeah, your body has been giving you signals for a long time that you have been ignoring, such as high blood pressure or a elevated heartbeat. Since those signals didn't work, now it is giving you a harsher warning in the form of anxiety and panic attacks. If those warnings won't work for you to make a change, it will probably cause you chronic conditions such as heart problems or incurable mental health disorders. I think you should give it your best to change these things in your life as they will benefit you in many ways and it's not just about panic attacks. That being said, I don't think this is the biggest reason for the cause of panic attacks. This is a great example of something I was talking about in my last video, that an illness or a condition like a panic attack is a sign or a warning that your body is giving you to change something in your life. First, the signs are small, like stress or high blood pressure, but then it gets bigger and bigger, like panic attack, and in the end, there is a chronic condition like a heart attack or developing some psychological issues. All of these symptoms have something in common, and that is that it's coming from your behavior or your unconscious programming. For panic attacks specifically, you have programs in your mind where you want to control things in your life that cannot be controlled. You want to control people around you or where your life is heading, but a lot of these things cannot fully be controlled. What you can do is give it your best, and the rest is usually up to the people or the circumstances in your life. So, in other words, you want to control the uncontrollable. What then happens is that it starts manifesting in your body. You can suddenly feel your heartbeat or your blood pressure being high, and you want to control it, which makes the whole situation even worse. High blood pressure comes from blood vessels losing their elasticity, from being too rigid. It is like something is not letting them or the heart work as it wants, and they are being held by something. Also, you start feeling your heartbeat and you want to slow it down and control it, but that is also one of the things in your body that cannot be controlled. The reason we say things like listen to your heart or he takes it very much to heart is because they are always related to emotions, to something that cannot fully be controlled. By trying to control it all the time, you are going against this natural process, and that is why symptoms like stress and high blood pressure occur. In my personal experience, I first had panic attacks that were related to my anxiety of getting a heart attack. Then I went to a cardiologist and took care of my health, and after that, the panic attacks stopped for like a month or two, only for them to manifest again in another way. This time, I didn't think I would get a heart attack, but it was more of a thing with my mind. Like I was going insane, I again have had no control over it. You start thinking in those situations about a lot of things, and you have feelings like you are thinking about two or three things at the same time, like your mind is splitting. So the same thing manifested just in a different form. Again, something that is really hard to control, and that is my thoughts and how much I think. So, in my personal experience, as long as you have certain unconscious trauma or programs in your mind, they will manifest in some way or the other in your life. Medicine or people will then find the causal reason why it is how it is, but it always started from your mind. You can find that your body is producing more cortisol and adrenaline than a normal person, but did this happen naturally or did it happen because of your way of life. The decision to work 12 hours a day instead of lowering the number of hours, or quitting that job, or drinking that fourth coffee of the day, even though you know you wouldn't be able to sleep. There is always a deeper reason behind it than just a temporary excuse like, oh, I had to finish my job, or being hardworking is part of my character. The hard part is that if these underlying reasons were always apparent to us, we wouldn't be controlled by them. That is why this is perhaps the hardest thing you will do in your life, and that is actually permanently changing yourself. So, what are some ways to actually notice these programs and how to change them? The simplest way is to see the patterns in your life of the same things occurring over and over again. Maybe you are getting fired from jobs for the always the same reasons, or you go drinking because something bad happened in your life and it makes the rest of your life worse. You can find a pattern from these things, and then you can consciously work on changing them. The same thing goes for the panic attacks. As I said, there is something driving you to do the things the way that you do, and your body is telling you that you need to change it. When you actively try to change your behavior, you start having resistances in your body. They come in the form of bad emotions like apathy, unhappiness, low energy, anger, and so on. So instead of reacting to these bad emotions, you should just let them be. You don't judge them, and you don't try to repress them by doing things like drinking that coffee or alcohol or something else you use as an escape. I understand that doing that is normal in our society, but it's also normal to be depressed, full of anxiety, and generally be unhappy. So you can take it as you want. After some times, you don't feel those emotions anymore, and you will feel a lot happier and lighter. Specifically for panic attacks, as I said before, you are trying to control things that cannot be controlled. So ask yourself these questions. Why do you have to have that high score on your test? Why do you have to work that hard on your job? Why does that person in your life have to do exactly what you want? Is it coming from an insecurity you feel? Is it because you need approval from someone? By thinking or meditating on these things, you can start to be aware of these programs and start letting them go. Again, by not judging them as good or bad, but just feeling them. This is something I went a lot deeper in my previous videos, so I won't repeat it anymore here. The goal here is not to be run by these programs and to not do things that are harmful to you and to your body. This doesn't mean that you can't be hardworking or motivated to achieve things in life. It's just that it shouldn't come from this place of scarcity and insecurity. In my experience, when you do it in that way, it is like you're swimming against the current instead of just letting go and going with the current. In the Western society, it is accepted that for you to be successful, you have to work hard and nobody will judge you if you do it like that. But much more can be achieved with less effort and in a more sustainable way when you are coming from this place of freedom and abundance. When you're not run by these insecurities, it is like you have a bird's view of your goals in life and what needs to be done, and your vision isn't that narrow anymore. A lot of people who have panic attacks cling to their identity as a hardworking person, and they sabotage their social life or their health in the same way as addicts do with their drugs. It's just not judged as badly because it is more useful to society compared to drugs or being addicted to video games. So to summarize, how to get rid of the root cause of panic attacks. Identify unconscious programs, let go of the emotions behind them by not judging them, actively incorporate more healthy mindsets and habits that are more sustainable, and let go of the resistance that occurs when you implement them. I try to go deeper into how to let go into other videos, and I will also attach some literature in my descriptions that goes deeper on this. I haven't spoken about how you actually deal with panic attacks when they occur. You again do not force yourself to try to calm down. For me, even trying to control my breath never worked. Instead, you should try to let go of control as much as possible. Do not judge the sensations that are occurring in your body. Your heart beating fast is neither good or bad. It's just what it is. The same for you sweating or being out of breath. Don't judge it. Just let it be what it is. You can also have a mantra that will help you in this. Something like, I'm giving up control, or if you believe in God, you can repeat in your head something like, I'm giving my control to God. Also, one thing that is good to know is that when your adrenaline is really high, such as when you are having a panic attack, your vision becomes more narrow, and the thoughts in your head are no more just assumptions or possibilities. They start to be real, and you can shake the idea that you're really having a heart attack or going crazy, even though you know that it literally isn't true. It's important that you know that you are not your thoughts. The thoughts are produced from the emotions you feel in your body. One emotion can cause thousands of thoughts, so when the main emotion you feel is fear, that is also the kind of thoughts you will have. The more you resist the whole process, the harder it will be. So letting go is the only solution here. If you implement the changes that I said before, the intensity of your panic attacks will become lower and lower over time until you don't have them anymore. In the end, I hope this video helps someone, as I know how hard it is to deal with panic attacks and anxiety in general. So thank you for listening, and see you next time.